Why were so few female Nazi guards ever put on trial compared to the men? It's a question that quietly bothers anyone who spends enough time reading about the Holocaust. You start noticing something strange. Male SS guards are named, photographed, tracked, arrested, sentenced, and executed. Their faces appear again and again in books and documentaries. But when it comes to the women who served in the camps, there's a strange silence in historical books. Many people grow up believing these women were all captured, punished, or killed when the war ended. That belief is comforting, and it is also deeply wrong. In order to understand why female SS soldiers were not executed at a level men soldiers were executed, then you have to listen this story till the end. So the truth is far more disturbing. Most female Nazi camp guards were never punished at all. They didn't vanish because justice caught up with them. They vanished because history failed to hold them accountable. Roughly 3,700 women served as guards across Nazi concentration and extermination camps. They worked at places like Ravensbrück, Auschwitz-Birkenau, Bergen-Belsen, Majdanek, and others. Some were trained professionals within the SS system. Others were civilians recruited later in the war. Their roles varied, but their presence was constant. They supervised forced labor, enforced discipline, delivered beatings, selected prisoners for punishment, and in some cases, directly participated in killings. Yet only a small fraction ever stood inside a courtroom. Part of the confusion comes from how the camps were liberated. When Allied troops entered places like Bergen-Belsen in 1945, they were not prepared for what they saw. Thousands of unburied corpses, emaciated prisoners barely clinging to life, disease everywhere. The soldiers were shocked, horrified, and furious. In some cases, guards were shot on the spot. Survivors attacked those they recognized. What happened in those moments was not justice. It was rage, grief, and revenge spilling over after years of unimaginable suffering. Those events created a powerful image in people's minds, the idea that the guards were immediately punished. But that only applied to a small number, usually the ones still present when the camps were liberated. Most female guards were not there. By the final months of the war, many camps were evacuated. Guards were reassigned, transferred, or simply fled. Female guards had an advantage that male SS men did not. The men were marked. They often had SS blood group tattoos under their arms. They were more likely to be recognized, documented, and suspected. Women had no such identifying marks. A female guard could remove her uniform, put on a simple dress, tie her hair back, and disappear into the endless streams of refugees moving across a shattered Europe. Millions of displaced civilians were on the roads. Widows, mothers, workers, bomb survivors. In that chaos, a former camp guard looked like just another frightened woman trying to survive, and most of them knew exactly how to use that to their advantage. Very few people were actively looking for female perpetrators. Even investigators, prosecutors, and Allied officials often did not take the idea seriously that women could be capable of the same cruelty as men. There was a deep-rooted assumption that women were either coerced, passive, or merely following orders in minor roles. This bias shaped post-war justice in ways that are still uncomfortable to confront. When trials did occur, they focused on the most extreme cases. Irma Greci is one of the names people remember. Young, brutal, notorious, she became a symbol of female cruelty within the camps. She was tried and executed, and her story has been retold many times. But she was the exception, not the rule. Her visibility made her unforgettable. The others benefited from anonymity. Most female guards were never identified by survivors. Prisoners often knew them only by nicknames or appearance. Years later, memories blurred. Without documents, photographs, or confessions, proving someone's past became nearly impossible. A woman could deny everything, claim she worked as a nurse or factory laborer, and there was often no evidence strong enough to challenge her story. Another uncomfortable truth is that post-war societies were eager to move on. Europe was destroyed. Cities lay in ruins. Millions needed housing, food, work. Governments prioritized rebuilding over prosecution. Investigating every possible war criminal required time, money, and political will, especially when the accused blended seamlessly back into civilian life. Many of these women returned home. They married, they had children, they became neighbors, co-workers, grandmothers. They baked cakes, attended church, complained about prices, and lived quietly. The people around them had no idea who they had been during the war, and in many cases, no one ever asked. This is not to say all female guards were identical or equally brutal. Some were undoubtedly more sadistic than others. Some abused their power viciously. Others enforced rules with cold efficiency. But the system itself required participation. Violence did not need enthusiasm to function. Obedience was enough. What makes this history especially unsettling is how easily it disappears. When perpetrators are punished, their crimes become visible. Trials leave records. Sentences acknowledge guilt. But when perpetrators fade back into normal life, history loses its sharp edges. The past becomes incomplete. Survivors, meanwhile, carried the memories alone. Many spoke of female guards with particular bitterness, not because women were inherently worse, but because their cruelty shattered expectations. These guards were often closer to the prisoners' daily lives. They supervised sleeping quarters, hygiene, roll calls. Their presence was constant, their power intimate. Betrayal feels deeper when it comes from someone society expects to be nurturing. Yet after the war, those same expectations protected them. In later decades, a few investigations reopened. Aging women were questioned. Some trials occurred when the accused were already elderly. But by then, witnesses had died, evidence was thin, and sentences were often symbolic. Justice delayed became justice diminished. This is not a story about vengeance. It is a story about accountability and the lack of it. History does not require that every perpetrator be punished to be honest, but it does require that we tell the truth about what happened. The idea that these women all paid for their crimes is a comforting myth. The reality is harder to accept. Many walked away. Many lived full lives untouched by the consequences of what they had done. And society for a long time allowed that to happen. Understanding this doesn't erase the suffering of the victims, but it does remind us of something important. Evil does not always wear a uniform forever. Sometimes it changes clothes, blends in, and waits for memory to fade. That may be the saddest part of this history, not just what happened inside the camps, but how easily so much of it slipped away afterward, carried silently by those who survived and forgotten by those who did not want to look too closely.